Welcome to the E-Show with Neil Ravin. Founded in 2013, the EHL has become the college placement leader on the East Coast. Sit back and learn more about the next step in your junior hockey career.
Welcome to the E-Show, presented by the Penalty Box Foundation. The Foundation's mission centers around their daily motto: we take care of our own, as they help out all of those within the hockey community who've experienced a catastrophic event. Learn more at penaltyboxfoundation.org. What's up? My name is Neil Ravin, and this is episode number 181 of the E-Show. On this week's episode, we highlight the fourth and final new EHL team for the upcoming 23-24 season, the Boston Junior Terriers. Jake Basile chats with Cody Gonyeau as he prepares his organization for their inaugural season of junior hockey. Jumping into the East Division, Gonyeau knows the challenging opponents his team will face right from the get-go. However, the Terriers bench boss has been working heavily on the recruiting trails ever since the team was announced this past winter, and he's feeling both anxious but also confident as we get closer to the first puck drop of the year.
Hello, E-Show. It is time for another installment of our Coach's Corner Chats. This time, it's a welcome back to the E-Show for Cody Gonyeau, head coach and general manager of the Boston Junior Terriers. During our last conversation, Coach Gonyeau and I went over his background and expectations for the Terriers junior team. So now it's time to discuss the nuts and bolts of this upcoming Terriers season with the man himself. So Coach Gonyeau, thanks for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me on, Jake. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome back. And so the last time we spoke, we left off with, you saying you're just ready to go out and recruit players because you weren't at that opening just yet. So now plenty of that has been done. So how eager are you to just get underway and play some hockey?
Well, it's definitely been building up. Every player we've signed brings something special to the team that we, really look forward to. Each player is kind of unique. So it'll be interesting to see what, everything looks like, when players report, and that's coming up here pretty soon.
And as far as getting to know ownership, other coaches, that kind of stuff, how have you guys been able to figure out a vision for this Terriers junior team?
Well, I was lucky to jump in with the organization and help coach for American Hockey Academy right when I was announced. It was pretty helpful for me to understand the program's culture and their commitment to excellence, and I've been able to see my vision for the team fit in with that culture, and that being a comprehensive program that kind of pushes everyone to be successful both on and off the ice. There's a strong focus on kind of making sure that everyone is, prepared and ready to go and working towards being the best possible version of themselves, day in and day out. And I think, what I'm building with the EHL team fits a lot of what, the ownership and the other coaches have in mind as well.
Definitely. And regarding AHA, are you expecting that their youth programs to play any kind of role with the junior team, whatever it may be?
I think so. I think it'll be a big role. You got to look at the fact that, it's the same ownership. We're really, one big family, really. I learned a lot when I was working with them, and I kind of feel like I helped the program in many ways too, and I'm going to continue to do so. We're there at the rink on the same days, and our practices are going to be before the AHA. So, right now I talk to the coaches on like a daily basis for AHA, and I try to help them out in a lot of things with the off-season planning. I'm part of their team meetings. I have a good rapport with a lot of the players from getting to know them last season when I was working with them. We also benefit from having one of our owners coach, in the program, with Rustin Mariano kind of leading AHA each season. He not only understands the operations on the management side of things, he kind of has a ton of experience in the coaching side of things too, which is really helpful. So we all really work together on, what our expectations are, not just for the teams or each team, but program wide. And I feel like it really strengthens our approach to kind of building the identity of this expansion team.
Perfect. And so one of the guys you're bringing in as an assistant coach has experience working with players at the academy level and also at the college level with SNHU. That's Neil Mulcahy. So how valuable do you expect that experience to be for you guys at the junior level?
Well, having Neil be part of our staff is tremendously, valuable to us. I mean, this is going to be a great opportunity. He brings so much to the table as far as coaching goes. His passion is real. Like it's just getting to know him. I truly see a real passion with him. And we talk on the phone like multiple times a day. We're just constantly shooting ideas off each other and on how we can design our program, how to make things better, even though we haven't even started yet. We're working on making things better. What we can do to give the players everything they need. What really kind of stood out to me about Neil was his experience coaching at the college level. He knows what college coaches are looking for. And, he knows who a lot of the coaches are in our area. I know he's going to be, incredibly helpful, not just as a coach, but in the commitment process as well. I think we're really lucky to have him part of the Terriers family here.
Definitely. And obviously that commitment part, a huge part. And this question actually comes from the commissioner. Has he overtaken Mr. Ravin as your favorite Neil?
Oh, what's funny is, I talked to Neil Ravin a lot about, a lot of the things prepare for the season. And I talked to Neil, McKay a lot, obviously. And, my wife will be, in the same room asking, all right, which Neil was that? And I'll be like, oh, that's Neil Ravin or that's Neil M, and it's funny, but both Neil Ravin and Neil McKay are great guys and have been tremendously helpful already and getting through the summer here. And I'm not going to answer that question because I don't put either of them on the spot, but they're both good friends.
Yeah, definitely two good Neils for sure. So
Yeah.
we'll get into the makeup of this team, and I think the first thing that stands out is the amount of age out players that you guys are going to have. So was this something that was intended from the get go for the first year specifically?
I knew in the back of my mind that I wanted the team to be a bit older. When I came into the league, I watched a lot of EHL games. I went to Newington. I went to the All-Star games in Exeter. I watched some division games nearby. I saw some playoff rounds, and then I went to Providence and saw the Frozen Finals, and just watched what the product was of this league. And I saw how each team seemed to have a very competitive vibe. Everyone kind of looked hard to play against, which goes to show that parity that everyone seems to talk about. They're right. there is a really good competition in this league. So I knew that building this team, I really wanted to bring in a lot of junior guys that have that drive, that are battle hungry guys that really want to win each game because quite frankly, this is their last season of junior hockey, and I want to come in this year being successful, and I feel like a lot of that experience and a lot of those junior A guys with experience are going to help us be that way.
Yeah, so due to that age out factor, like you said, many of these guys have juniors experience. Dylan Causey, Jonathan Meyer, Danny Caputo. Danny Caputo is a league guy. And then you have plenty of guys that are going to be making the jump from P to E. So you said in our first interview that the big thing for you is that you get to help establish the culture and you get to help build this culture. So how do you think bringing in these veteran guys with junior backgrounds helps that mission?
I know that my objective with our team's culture is going to be structured on a very high standard in many ways. such as like how we go to practices, how we study our games, how we dress for games, how we behave away from the rink, how we go through each day preparing for the next game. And there's just so much more involved to it. And in my experience coaching junior hockey, I know that there's a lot of differences than like AAA or high school or prep hockey. There are a lot of details that I think are involved in the overall environment and competition of each game. And having these junior A experienced guys, with those that we're bringing in, my plan is really to kind of use that to our advantage. And when I'm trying to implement the culture of our team and with their experience and what I'm trying to bring in with this expansion team, I hope it kind of helps us off to a good start.
Definitely. And I'm curious about the other side of that too, with a lot of guys coming in from different backgrounds, different organizations, different systems, that kind of stuff. What do you think will be the keys to getting guys acclimated and on the same page as early as possible?
Well, to be honest, we've already been working on communicating, explaining our team standards. Our team has been on multiple Zoom calls. We've been talking with each other. We've been teaching some of the things to prepare for, giving the players opportunities to start building friendships. Use breakout sessions and throw the forwards and forward groups, D&D groups, goalies and goalie groups, and we just talk about each other and learn about each other and get to know each other now. And and I feel we're off to a really good start with that. And I think it'll only help us for when we report to training camp, where, that's when we really need to kind of prepare the players on where they need to be for the season. So, because we're an expansion team, we kind of have to work a little bit more on the relationship building now, so that when we get to training camp, we're off to a good start, and we're ready to prepare for the games ahead of us.
For sure. And one last note on the factor of the age out. It's obviously a certain level of pressure to get them to school within your year with them. So what kind of things are the Terriers going to focus on specifically to get them ready in, an 8-9 month period?
Well, right now we do a lot of research, amongst the players. I built this like Google form, that kind of outlines, all the NCAA colleges, providing information like what programs they offer, some school history, locations, costs, acceptance rates. I've sent this out to all the guys, because I need them to do their research on schools. That if we find interest from some of them throughout the season, we've already done our homework. We can communicate with them accordingly to make sure that, we're putting our guys in the best possible position to earn a commitment to play college hockey. So, we've already kind of gotten a lot of the things started with that. We've had some conversations with colleges about who the players are coming into our team this season. So, there's definitely, a ton of pressure, making sure that we're doing right by the players and connecting them with colleges. But I think a lot of the planning that we're doing right now is going to, be good for, that commitment season and when things start to take off.
Definitely. And now we'll take some time to get into some of the players on the team. And there will be several pairs or groups of former teammates, or now current again, a pair of Proctor guys coming, pair of Bay State Bobcats, as well as, a few BJR Premier players. So there will be some level of familiarity. Do you anticipate that being an asset at all, especially early on?
Yeah, there's a big reason kind of why we have that, and I really want that familiarity to be used as an advantage for our team's chemistry. With us being a brand new team, by having some of these guys that know each other and, are friends and have played together in the past, I feel will kind of help the team pass that, that kind of like that awkward stage, when no one's talking in the locker room and nobody knows each other. I really kind of hope that the fact that some of these guys do know each other, kind of helps us pass that stage within our locker room. And when we want them to have a strong bond and closeness with that will kind of ultimately help us for when we're given a tough opponent or showcase, and things that we can do, like starting these conversations now over Zoom calls, or having some players that know each other and can have a little bit of better feeling going into a brand new team. Like, those are all just some of the things that we're kind of doing to kind of get us ready for those games.
And another piece of that familiarity will be yourself and Gavin Dock, a player you coached back in your 16U coaching days with the Cleveland Barons. So what do you remember about him, and how closely were you still in contact with him up until this?
Yeah. So Gavin and I, this is definitely a unique opportunity for both him and I. I brought Gavin to the Barons at the 16s level a while ago. And he was one of those guys that was very receptive to like my coaching style. He would ask a lot of really good questions. He'd take advantage of open ice. He really kind of had that, will to want to get better each day. And we didn't win a national championship or anything substantial like that, but there was I did notice a considerable level of improvement by Gavin that year, and mainly it was because of how coachable he is. He's eager to kind of learn and develop. He's very smart, and his grades show it. So when my coaching opportunity came up with the Terriers, it kind of matched the direction that he wanted to go. With this being his last season of junior hockey, he kind of knows, how important this year is for him, and seeking that college, college commitment. And he knows what to expect of me as a coach, and I know it. I know how to push him. I know what to expect of him, and I know how he can, kind of click on all cylinders and what we need to do to get there. So, his decision to kind of join the Terriers this season was just a really exciting opportunity for both of us. And, I'm grateful for this, and I'm hoping that it helps us really approach this year strong.
Yeah, definitely pretty cool as well. And another thing I want to bring up is you have a couple of guys with the connection to the combines. Paul Johnson, you had him signed prior to the Michigan Combine, but he competed. On the other hand, though, Dom Paulides was a guy that you brought in due to his performance at the Mass Combine. So what stood out to you about him, and how beneficial did you find those events for both sides in terms of players and coaching staff?
Yeah, Dom. So one of our coaches, Derek Curtis, we were watching the combine, which was really fun event. I did enjoy it. I stayed for every day. I think I was there for every game. I was kind of tired, but I really did enjoy it. And Derek and I were watching one of the games, and Derek kind of, I don't know if anyone in the league really knows him, but he's really, he's kind of a stoic guy, quiet, loves hockey. And we're sitting there, and he spotted Dom, and he was like, "Hey, Cody, keep an eye on 9 Gray." Like, okay. So yeah, I did, and wow, I was like, well, it was. And I noticed right there, I was like, okay, there's a kid that, did all the small things a junior hockey player really needs to do, not the things you find on a stat sheet. He didn't show anything overly flashy, but he did help the speed of the game. He moved the puck well, he had good skating ability. I could tell he was a junior hockey player because of how he approached each shift and worked to bring value on the ice. He knows that he needs to have a reason to stand out. He's been in this for a while, and he's been to a lot of camps, combines, and if you're just there and you're just blending in, you're not going to get anywhere. And I think we're lucky to kind of have opportunities like these combines, because these are great places to find those kinds of players. The Michigan Combine that was a really fun time. It allowed us to allowed me to take another look at, a key asset to our blue line, with that being Paul Johnson. He was a wrecking ball out on that ice with the combine, and I kind of had to tell him to take it easy a little bit. But no, he's just a really eager, battle hungry type guy that I was really happy with our recruitment process with him, and with him living in the Michigan area, taking advantage of that location to meet some of our guys. It was just a really good opportunity for us. So I think these combines are, just another great reason as to why this league is really successful.
For sure. And we're looking forward to seeing those two guys. And now we'll move to the position of goaltender, and you'll have two veterans of the Eastern Hockey League and Eastern Hockey League Premier, and Jake Hugeson, who had a great season with the New Jersey 87s, and Nick Muchler, who was up there as one of the top goaltenders in the EHL Premier with BJR. So, how much of an asset is it to have those two veterans in net, and what are you expecting from them?
Well, what's really important about them is that they know what to expect with this league. Of all positions, we all know goalies are very important. And knowing that they know how to compete in this league, it really kind of benefits us as a new team. It kind of gives me a little mind at ease in a sense. I kind of hope that, I can just let them do their thing back there. But Jake's a goalie that did really well for the 87s last season. I like his skating ability. He has really good athleticism. He's been training really hard this offseason. He's been sending me a ton of videos as to the personal records he's been hitting, and I think he's having a great offseason. So I'm really curious to see how he reports to camp, and he's got a competitiveness, and that's the biggest thing with him. Like, he's going to come in and he's going to compete, and not only know this league, know what to expect with this league, he's going to come in and he's going to compete really hard. So Nick also has a lot of success in this league as well. I think he had one of the higher save percentages in the EHLP last year. He has really good positioning. He's a larger goalie. He fills the net well, has good rebound control, sees the puck well. He thinks the game pretty well too. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing, what they both can bring this season for sure. And I'm grateful for the experience that our goalies have within the league already. And I think that's, just another reason as to why, I'm pushing this team to, have experience and, be an older team and go into the season. While it is an expansion team, it is a team that has, older experienced players.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And one last player that I do want to talk about, one of my favorites, is Drake Tomac, the EHLP Forward of the Year last season. We were talking earlier about him. What makes you believe he's a guy that's going to have a big year this year in the EHL?
Yeah, very very impressive player out of Drake there. One of the things that I was really impressed with, going to that all-star game, that EHLP all-star game in Exeter, was seeing how much talent the EHLP has. And obviously Drake was one of them there, and he's definitely a player that a lot of coaches are aware of in our league, and he's got a long reach, he's got a quick release shot, he can score anywhere around the ice. He's got smooth skating ability. I like how fast he makes decisions. He's a smart kid, and he and I have kind of had a lot of conversations about the year. He likes to have a good dialogue with his coaches. He likes to, talk about what to expect, what to do to get better, what he can kind of do to be an overall competitor. And kind of like Hugeson, like I was just explaining, like I think Drake's got a really competitive edge to him. And, just talking with him over the phone, I'm starting to sense that he's got a really strong drive into this year with his overall competitiveness. And for a kid that, produced what he did last season, and to perhaps have a stronger focus on his competitive nature, it's a very good outlook into this season. And I'm just really curious to see what he can do at the EHL level now.
Yeah, I think we're all definitely excited to see him and to continue to look ahead. You guys are going to be in that East Division, the division of the defending champions, but also, the toughest, most blue collar, hardest nosed division in the EHL. Why are the Terriers going to be a good fit for that kind of identity?
Well, this kind of goes back to that question about, why do we have so many age outs? Why do we have an old team? And seeing how good this league is, and especially starting to understand who the teams are in the East Division, it's a big reason I brought in a lot of guys with experience. And I wanted the experience of the guys in this team to kind of help us handle like tough opponents. Like the East Division, you're right, is a really tough division. All the divisions have a lot of talent, a lot of strong teams. I do feel like the East Division is one of those that is going to have a lot of really close games this year, a lot of fun tight matches, and I really wanted my older age group of players to be able to rely on their experience, so that when we're going into each game, we can kind of tap into that experience and push ourselves and drive and compete into this division. We don't want to just exist. We want to compete, as an expansion team. Obviously everyone knows and says, oh, it's your first year, like good job, but we don't want to just exist. We really want to come in and we want to compete hard this year. We really do. We want to make a name for ourselves. How we define our success, whether that's on the scoreboard or whether that's players getting committed, or whether that's players finding success in the classroom or whatever. Like, I mean, we really want to hold ourselves to a standard this year, and I think the division that we're in is going to push us each week to be on top of our game and try to be the best version of ourselves.
Absolutely, 100%. We can't wait to see that, like I keep saying. And when we look at the Terrier schedule, and there's nothing on home ice until the month of October. So what are your thoughts on that opening for the season?
Well, I think you and I mentioned like you're going to be announcing that one, and
Yeah.
and that there's a big circle on our calendar there in Worcester. But we have a great trip planned to Vermont. We play the Lumberjacks up there. Then the Worcester Showcase. That would be a nice introduction for our guys to kind of see what this league is all about. I want to give them an opportunity to, play a few games before we get there. So that's why, we scheduled the way we did. We have a good training camp schedule, playing a couple exhibition opportunities with some other teams, and doing some team bonding in September. We're going to do a little camping trip up in New Hampshire. So as long as we stay away from the Bears, we'll be okay. But but we have a lot of really good things planned for September. It'll be a lot of fun and exciting to kind of see how our team fits in this league, and then ultimately kind of get ready for our first home match, which is a really important thing for us there in October.
And you mentioned that, to wrap up that first game, September 15th, game one in Worcester. I think it's a Friday night game, so even more pressure, How nervous do you think you're gonna be? Are you a nervous guy?
I don't know. Like, feeling nervous is something that I know is inevitable.
Yeah.
And I just kind of accept it. Any coach starting an expansion team is going to be nervous about a lot of things. And that September 15th is going to be the first real test this team has, and I'm already nervous and excited about it, and I know that's going to be a game that I'll probably never forget. So looking forward to being there and looking forward to, your play-by-play there. And I'm just really fortunate for the way everything's been working out this off season, and I couldn't be more excited for the year ahead.
Yeah, likewise, when we're fortunate to have you guys and this organization in the league, and I'm grateful to be a part of that day. So I'm looking forward to it as well. Coach Gonyeau, thank you so much for taking the time. And yeah, once again, we're looking forward to it all.
Thank you, Jake. Means a lot.
Thanks for listening to The E-Show. Learn more at easternhockeyleague.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, be sure to subscribe and get notified when next week's podcast is released.